to Most Haunted. Tonight we are live from the Midland Grand Hotel. It's a building that has remained derelict since 1935. Well, tonight we have reopened it to start a paranormal investigation. Ghost sightings and paranormal activity have been reported here for many years. Now, on the sofa, we have experts, some old faces and some new faces, and of course, the lovely David Bull.
Hello, good evening to you, and welcome to this fantastically opulent hotel. Now, this is actually one of the best examples of Victorian Gothic architecture. It cost £500,000, did you know that? And there are over 60 million bricks in this very hotel.
I never knew that. I'm going to go off now to the first supposed haunted location, which is called the Opium Den, so I will see you later.
Good luck. Now, as Yvette makes her way to the Opium Den, let me tell you about tonight, because as usual, we have an enormous operation here. And I want to take you now into the nerve centre. Come through here. This is the nerve centre, the very heart of tonight's operation. This is the Most Haunted Hub. And those are our living TV viewers. I'll tell you more about those in just a minute. Now, in this hub, this is where we are going to collate all the information that you, the viewers, are going to tell us throughout the night. Now, our phone lines are being collated here. You can ring us. Don't forget, the number is 08712 448804. That's 08712 448804. Write it down, remember it, and call in. Come with me, because if you are a regular viewer of Most Haunted Live, thank you very much, phones already. If you're a regular viewer of Most Haunted Live, you'll see that we have, as well as our 6 broadcast cameras, we also have 4 webcams. Here they are. We are streaming live pictures from 4 supposedly haunted venues in this hotel. You'll see them here. They are Room 10, the East Stairwell, the Opium Den, and the basement. What we want you to do is keep an eye on those images. You can access them on the website. The address is www.livingtv.co.uk. Look at those images and tell us what you see. Now, with this show, it's slightly different. We will be able to go to those webcam pictures live and put them at the corner of the screen. So we are so dependent on you to tell us what is going on. Now, as well as phoning us, which you've obviously started to do, you can also post your messages on our website. Don't forget that address, www.livingtv.co.uk. And you can also text us. There is another number for that. You can text 80088. That's 80088. Text the word haunted, leave a space, and then text your message. And do please tell us who you are and where you are texting from. You heard them earlier, and here they are. This is our living TV audience of Most Haunted Live regulars. Let me just ask, where are you from, sir? You're from Preston. Why have you come all this way from Preston?
To see what happens, witness it myself.
Are you a believer?
Don't know.
You're not sure? No. OK, let's go over here. Lady here, where are you from?
I'm from Norfolk. My name's Judy.
And why are you here?
Because my daughter-in-law Alison and my son Grant watch the programme. Unfortunately, I haven't got a television, but I live in a very haunted house in Norfolk. And so I'm here for the excitement. So
you are a believer?
I believe, yes.
OK, well, we shall see what happens tonight. Now, also, it's very showbiz here tonight, because we also have showbiz Most Haunted Live viewers. We've got Melinda Messenger and Richard Arnold. Very many congratulations on your new show. I know started yesterday. I watched yesterday. Was a bit busy today.
Doing what?
Well, you know, setting
We're a
up.
bag of nerves.
Why?
Well, I've admired this building for a long time. As someone who's a fan of the 30s anyway, I've got loads of 30s sort of bar paraphernalia back in my home, just down the road. And I've passed it as a Londoner for years, but of course no one's been allowed in it.
It is fantastic.
I feel totally privileged to actually be here until I'm scared out of my wits, clearly.
OK. And what about you?
Well, it's absolutely beautiful, this building. And I wasn't nervous at all until I walked in here, but it is freezing. And then you showed us those shots. And I don't know where you're sending us. Yes.
and we will be sending you. Now, you've had experiences of the paranormal, haven't you?
Well, I have, yes. I mean, I used to live in a 16th century Wiltshire longhouse, and the day that we moved in, went to bed, everything was normal, you know, didn't eat anything funny that night. And as I was drifting off to sleep, I could just hear cattle and just people talking. And it wasn't anything out of the ordinary, other than that's out of the ordinary, clearly. But, I mean, it was just normal chit-chat, nothing in particular. And it was quite spooky. But hopefully there'll be more of that tonight, won't there?
Well, there certainly will. And I have to tell you guys that we will be putting you to the test. We will be sending you into some of the rooms here in the hotel. So be scared, be very scared. Now, I did mention that this hotel has an enormous history. It's fantastic. It goes back many, many years. So let us tell you a little bit about the story, the history of the Midland Grand Hotel. George Gilbert Scott had a vision to bring an exclusive residence that would tower above the capital, brimming with opulence and luxury. Esteemed social gatherings, affluent guests, lavish halls and sweeping staircases. This would be a prestigious sanctuary for the wealthy elite. In 1865, a competition to design the new Midland Grand Hotel was launched, and out of 11 architects, Scott submitted a grand plan, considerably larger than the original specification, with more than 300 bedrooms. But the hotel was ill-fated from the start. The sumptuous decor, expensive tariffs and outdated facilities eventually led to its closure in 1925. And after a brief life as offices, the hotel gasped its last breath in the 1960s, remaining abandoned and derelict to this present day. Phil Wyman has been studying the area, carrying out his baseline experiments in preparation for Derek's arrival.
Well, the experiments that we're going to be doing today consist of an EMF meter, which basically detects fluctuations in the electromagnetic field. We're also doing a trigger object, which is basically where we draw around an object on a sheet of paper, lock the area off so nobody can get into the area, and check back periodically to see if that has actually been moved by some spiritual entity. And we're also going to be doing a temperature gauge, which gives us a basic mean temperature for the rooms that we're going to be doing the experiments in and looking and conducting the vigils in later on. Well, I think our spirit medium, Derek Okora, is going to pick up a lot of residual energies. I hope he's going to pick up some actual spiritual or interactive energies as well. But I believe, for me personally, that this building contains a lot of residual energies and residual hauntings. So I'm interested to see if Derek will pick up on those.
Its curved red brick walls and menacing towers still remain a space of mystery and intrigue. Who is the man that occupies room 10? Could the noises from the basement be the marching footfall of Roman soldiers? And what haunts the steps of the main stairwell? Stuck in time and lost in purpose, the Midland Grand Hotel lies in darkness, waiting to be resurrected from the tomb it now represents. So, there you have it. The history of the Midland Grand Hotel. Now, it does strike me that there is someone missing. He is a favourite of living TV viewers. He's a clairvoyant. He's also a clairaudient. Ladies and gentlemen, please will you welcome Derek Okora. Nice to see you.
Nice
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
I'm great.
Now, very quickly, tell us, we're conducting a number of experiments. Tell us about this psychic experiment, very briefly.
Well, we're going to actually ask a...
What are you doing? Are you feeling some energy here?
I'm picking up, actually, someone with me, would you believe it? And actually stopping me in my tracks.
Okay.
And it's a
What
man.
do you feel? What do you feel?
I feel there's activity here. And I'm being stumped right at this moment by the spirit person.
Describe it, can you?
This man, he made me go into water. He drowned. And I'm choking here. And there's also the energy of a lady. And she's also coming behind me. This is the first ever for me, anything quite like this.
I've never seen you stumped like that.
And what can I say? These people lost their lives in this building going back in time. And collectively, they lost their lives, David, around the same time. I don't know how at the moment, but I'm hoping, with them making that first link, that, hey, we're in for some kind of active time.
Can you feel a sense? Do you know what sort of era we're talking about?
Oh, I feel at this time, maybe Sam, my guide, will help me with this, but I want to go back. I want to go possibly into the 1890s.
Okay.
Late 80s, 1890s.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Derek. Rather than asking you about the experiment now,
yes.
you go about your business, feel the energies, tell us what you find in just a minute.
Okay,
and
thanks,
what we'll
David.
do, I'll explain the experiment, we'll see more from Derek Akora, we'll see what the Most Haunted team are up to. Join us in just a few minutes after this break. Hello, welcome back to Most Haunted Live. Well, we've had a remarkable start to the evening already. Derek Akora is here. He has sensed already that there is a spiritual presence already, which confounded him the minute he walked in to the building. Amazing stuff. Now, also I said that we are going to do a whole host of experiments tonight. The first of those is a psychic experiment. Kieran, can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, this is going to be a mass experiment. Throughout the evening, Derek is going to be walking around. He's going to be getting the names of spirits. What we want is the TV viewers at home to do automatic writing. Now, automatic writing entails having a blank piece of paper,
right,
and you hold a pen.
So they need a pen and a piece of paper.
Pen and a piece of paper. You relax, just hold the pen, and you let messages come through. Essentially, you're trying to get the name. So at the top of the piece of paper, the question you need to write is, who are the ghosts of St. Pancras? And that is the question also that Derek will be asking as he's walking around. Right, let's get this straight.
So you take your piece of paper, you write at the top of it, who are the ghosts of St. Pancras?
Yes.
Then what do you do?
Then you just relax and you let the pen guide you. So you'll be getting messages coming through, allegedly, and writing names or other sort of messages that come through.
Or a diagram.
Or a diagram. You may even get incomprehensible squiggles, but you'll hopefully get something come through.
Okay, now what we want you to do at home, once you've done that, tell us what you've come up with. We want to know. This is a British television first, so ring us with those answers. 08712 448804, that's 08712 448804. You can also text us, don't forget the number is 80088. Text the word haunted, leave a space, and then text the message. Or, as Kieran was just saying, you may even draw something, so you can fax that to us as well. We really would like to see those. The number for that is different. It's 0207 278 9527. We'll tell you those. It's 0207 278 9527. That's the fax number. Really, are you going? What do you make of this? Are you excited about that?
I am. It's a huge experiment. I don't think it's ever been done before that we focus on automatic writing. We're trying to tune in with Derek and get the same names that he's getting. Yeah, it's a very exciting experiment.
So who are the ghosts of St. Pancras? You tell us. Now, we have done something differently this time. What we did was we took 6 of our Most Haunted Live viewers and we put them in this hotel for the evening. They have walked around this hotel, they've experienced the many rooms, the various happenings, and had a number of experiences. And they have chosen the first of the locations to send the Most Haunted team. And they have decided the place that they should start, and we should start tonight, is the Opium Den. Have a look at this. Nestled within the depths of the basement is a dark and barren space. Previously a lift room where food would be transported to the various floors above. Now in silence and in shadows, waiting patiently for a time when it will serve once more. Far away from civilization and with nowhere to run, would anybody really hear the screams of hell bellowing from the lungs of this discarded body of bricks? In preparation for tonight's event, we invited 6 Most Haunted viewers to spend an evening in this hotel. Each arrived in trepidation and excitement for the night ahead. They collected their camcorder, map and torch and set off into the night. In this unique experiment, will the ghosts of the Midland Grand Hotel make themselves known? Who knew what would be uncovered deep in the heart of the hotel cellars? Jackie Newcomb and Sarah J. Greenway took the plunge and went dousing to try and make contact with the spirits of the Midland Grand.
We've decided to try and ask a few questions, just to see if it responds to anything or will answer any questions. So we're going to try that now. Oh,
What the hell was that? Oh my God, something's touching my leg. Something touching my right leg. I can honestly, I'm not joking, I can feel something touching my right leg.
something just tugged on the bottom of... I'm not kidding you. The bottom of the dowsing rod just went like that. Something just tugged
Something
it.
just flicked the bottom.
It tugged it like that.
Is there anybody still in here? Yeah, that's just that right one again. Oh. That's bizarre, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Oh. Okay. Have you noticed what's just happened?
No.
It's pointing over to the right.
Is that where you are? Yes.
Yes.
Well, actually, here we do have the two ladies that spent some time here. We've got Sarah and, of course, Jackie. Now, I think you're incredibly brave because it is a horrible place down here. Just explain to us what was going through your mind. I mean, we've seen some clips there, so just tell us what was going on.
Well, we first got down here. It wasn't as dark as I expected, so I perhaps wasn't as frightened as I thought it was going to be to begin with. But once you're down here for a few hours, it is a little bit spooky and a little bit chilling, and I just wondered what was going to happen. And, you know, I really was very excited to be here.
Were you frightened at all?
It got scarier the longer we were here, because you sort of have a certain expectation, and then you know you'd hear a sound, or at one point we heard a noise at the top here, and we thought, you know, is it a mouse? Is it? You don't know what you're hearing.
Are you quite rational, the pair of you, or are you true firm believers in the paranormal and you know any noise, anything? Oh, it's a ghost! It's a ghost.
Well, I wouldn't say we were hysterical, but I mean we were certainly. I'm certainly a true believer. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'd certainly believe. I tried to rationalise as much as possible, you know, to be as objective as possible, but I certainly do believe there are things, certainly down here as well.
All right, well, it'll be very interesting to see exactly what happens later on. Derek Akora should be quite near, I think. Derek, are you coming down?
Hi, Yvette. Yes, fine. Good.
I was hearing over my earpiece that you're picking some stuff up.
I was. It's just absolutely took me by, I mean, absolute shock and surprise, because what it this man spirit and stopped me from concentrating on what I wanted to explain. And for momentarily, a couple of seconds, that made me aware of a lady's presence as well. So basically, you know, it just blocked what I wanted to say.
Because it's interesting, isn't it, how as soon as you can shut it off and then you can open up, and as soon as you open up, that's when things happen.
Yes, I mean, you can't control it. You know, if they want to make some kind of conscious link, any spirit person, they can do this. If they come close enough, like they did up there, I mean, it was a first for me how he actually did it with me.
Did you get any names at all?
I actually, as I'm walking down, I got, now that I'm in this energy now, because it's got something to do with this particular spirit man, maybe more so than the lady, because I feel that he's come this way. He's come this way on a number of occasions. Why he wants to come this way, I can't ascertain that at the moment.
Right.
But it's as if, you know, I want to move a little bit further up with this energy, because I just know he's come through.
What was I going to say? Phil, in the baseline experiments, was there actually anything here that showed up at all, or was it all quite quiet?
Well, what we've got to be careful of is that there's a power cable that runs across the roof, which is picked up on the EMF detector. But apart from that, nothing. And I've just done the temperature readings again, and they're virtually the same as when I did the baseline tests.
And also you can hear, I don't know if you can hear it at home, you can hear a constant, well not constant, but a rumbling, and you've got to remember, you know, there are trains.
Yeah, there are trains nearby.
Okay, so when you say you want to go up here,
Just
up
as
the
far
stairs?
as the stairwell, to the top of the stairwell.
Right.
And I just want to see whether his energy... It has been here recently. I just know it. Although, if I ask Sam a little bit about the soul... Okay. I felt when I was upstairs, just for a couple of seconds, as if I was going through an experience, what this man actually went through. And, you know, it sounds silly, doesn't it? But here, this is all brickwork. But I felt as if this man actually drowned, because it's as if I was coming up for the last time, and I'm choking, and he just drowned. And he couldn't get out, but he couldn't get it. And yet, I come here. And for some reason, I know this spirit comes on a regular basis from up right down into this basement area.
Right.
I don't know what is the reason why he's coming here. He didn't lose his life here.
But he likes to come here.
He likes to come here.
What's the connection, do you think, with the woman? Do you...
Oh, I know. Sorry, Evie. That's better.
I hate you when you do
I'm
that.
sorry, I'm sorry. No, it's just the energy that comes in. As you ask that question, sometimes it prompts, and I feel he's trying to answer in his own way, because his energy is close. The reason why he comes here was because, in its use of, I feel, I don't know, storage or what have you, that this man came down here. He was used to either doing something down here where storage was concerned, but where he lost his life, maybe he shouldn't have been. So I feel when he lost his life, his first inclination was to come back down. I get something to do with, you know, I push something up with this man, his energy. Now, what the heck is this? Sam, what is it? It's, yeah, okay. The only way I can describe it is this man, in his process, would put things into something on this level, and then, I don't know, it's like he puts it in, he stores it, and up it goes onto a higher level.
Can I just stop you there? I think it might be quite a good time now to actually go back to David and Richard Felix, because I know for a fact that there is a link with what you're talking about with the water.
Is that?
Yeah, we won't say now. I think it's quite good if Richard Felix can actually talk about that, David.
These are the elements that are at play here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yvette, amazing stuff. Richard Felix, as usual, jumping up and down on the sofa. Let me just take you through a couple of those points that Derek mentioned there in the opium den. Firstly, this drowning. I saw, obviously, this scrolling thing. Tell us about the drowning incident.
On the very top of the building was a very, very large water tank. I hope it wasn't drinking water, but I really don't know what it was. And, of course, the staff used to go up there. They used to sunbathe on the roof, and they used to use the water tank for swimming in. And unfortunately, one of the staff drowned in the water tank. They lost him for 4 days, and he was actually in that tank for 4 days. That's why I say I hope it wasn't drinking water.
Well, it would have been.
I would think it probably was.
Yeah. Very unpleasant.
And I presume that he was a member of staff, probably worked down below in the basements and still haunts the area where he originally worked, of course. And this business of...
And you also mentioned this pushing something. He keeps saying he puts something in and it goes up. He puts something in and it goes... What is he doing?
Absolutely right. It's a dumb waiter. A lift, of course, for loading food, because the kitchens were down there, of course, and the food would be transported upwards in what was called a dumb waiter. It was a form of lift. And all the food went up to the next level and then was taken to the restaurant.
And of course, this hotel is very unusual because it was I think it was the first London hotel to have an ascending hydraulic room, i.e. a lift.
Absolutely.
And I think dumb waiters were also very unusual at this period.
They were in those days, yeah.
I mean, that seems incredible. Also, one of the other things, one of the viewers has phoned in and said this thing about a proud man in room 10. Can you shed
well, straight away, I obviously had a wander around the place earlier, and I went to see room 10, and it was a very big, very grand room. And everyone said, oh, it must be a suite. It's not, because the lift is there. It's the staff quarters. I think it was the manager's office.
We shall find out.
Yes.
Let's go back now to Yvette, who's still in the opium den.
OK, well, here we are. We're still down here in the basement in the opium den. And I think now would be a good time, don't you think, chaps, to turn the lights off?
Yes.
OK. Yeah. So can we turn the lights off, please? There you go. All the lights have gone off. Now, I've got my own little camera here, which is quite handy. And basically, if we're all quiet, I know it's quite tricky for everybody, but if you can sort of stand quite still, because when a lot of people are in here, you can generate dust by moving your feet or by any fibres on your coat, and then a lot of people think that, oh, that's orbs, and it isn't.
Yes.
A lot of time it is clothing fibres and, of course, dust. So maybe, I don't know, if we sort of have a wander around and if you guys can keep as still as you possibly can. You never know, we might pick something up on this camera. It is quite spooky, actually, having hearing the trains going past, isn't it?
Yes.
Adds to the rumble.
Who?
Who are you picking up there?
Right. Thank you, Sam. There's a man. Is that the man, Sam? Right? Yeah. Edward? Edward? Edward Larkins. Larkin? Edward Larkin or Larkins.
Now, is this the man
with
the water?
Drowned. Yes. And, yes. and Catherine, the female, and Catherine Hoyes. Edward, what? Yes, Edward was some form of servant. Yes. Catherine didn't belong. She doesn't come down here. She doesn't come down here, but she meets up with him in the manner in which they lost their physical lives. She belongs up. She belongs up. Thank you, Sam. She belongs up. Can you give me a mental image, please? Yes? A maid. She was linked as a maid. A maid.
To him.
I'm not sure whether she was a maid to him or she was a maid whilst Edward was doing his work here.
So they knew of each other?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that's why. But you know, it's the most unusual and to me craziest way. How can they... Both of these two lost their lives in some form of drowning.
Here, in this property?
Yes.
OK.
Without
David,
a doubt.
back to you.
Richard Felix, can you shed any light on that? We're talking about this thing not being there, shouldn't be there. Upstairs, downstairs,
yes,
maid,
I think
servant?
there is a ghost of a lady, and she did not work here. I believe she was a maid to someone else that was actually staying here.
An illicit affair?
I think it's highly likely, because I know for a fact that this lady was pregnant.
Stop you there. I have to stop you there. We'll catch up with that and what you have to say in a little while. Join us in just a few minutes' time after the break. Welcome back to Most Haunted Live. We are live here in central London at the Midland Grand Hotel, a very opulent hotel, a splendid example of Victorian Gothic architecture and full of paranormal activity. So far, we've sent the Most Haunted team, Derek Acora, Yvette Fielding and the rest of the team, into the Opium Den, where Derek has named some paranormal activity. But there is so much going on. Jane, what are people saying at home so far?
Well, there's been a variety of responses. Some people responding to the webcam sightings. Apparently, somebody saw the paper move on which the key is placed. And
now, this is the trigger object. We've got a key
yes.
sitting on paper in
yes.
one of the locations.
That's true. When Derek actually came into this room, prior to him saying he was choking, we had people report similar feelings at home. We've had a number of names texted and emailed to us. 4 people have named Patrick, 4 Thomases. Unfortunately, nobody corroborated Derek's first.
Should you be telling us the names, though? The whole idea really isn't it, for people to come up with the names? How does it work?
Absolutely. We still want people to think about the names. I know Derek's already come up with 2, but the whole point of this experiment is to find out the ghosts of St Pancras. Derek's going to be visiting another 4 or 5 locations.
OK, now you're clutching. What else have you got in your hand?
Well, we've had a few faxes as well. This is from Kate in London. I've no idea what that means. I think we should give it to Kieran to analyse a little bit.
I think so.
And interestingly, these are the sort of names we're getting through on the fax. People.
Again, Patrick again.
Patrick again, yes. So it'd be interesting if Derek comes up with anything like that.
Wow, thank you very much indeed, Jane. Now, don't forget, you can also fax in your drawings, don't forget, from this automatic handwriting. And the number for that is 0207 278 9527. Right, back to our experts who are over here on the hub. Tell me, the handwriting experiment, just recap, how are we meant to do that?
Automatic writing, sit down with a plain piece of paper, right at the top, who are the ghosts of St Pancras. And essentially what you're trying to come up with is names of the ghosts of St Pancras that hopefully later on in the evening Derek will match.
Are you surprised that we're getting the same names coming in?
The same names in terms of all the names?
Yeah, we just had these 2 particular names coming up time and time again.
The issue with this sort of experiment and coming up with names is it's only first names, and are they common names?
Okay.
And Patrick is quite a common name.
We'll keep coming back to this. Now, as I said, our 6 most haunted viewers spent the evening here. They already sent the team to the Opium Den, and they have decided that the second location to send the team is the basement. The Midland Grand Hotel is built on the site of a Roman settlement, and the basement sits on what is believed to be the remains of a medieval graveyard. Down the deserted staircase and along the damp and cold corridors, many spaces, including the kitchens, pantries and storerooms, have been abandoned, functionless and left to perish. Countless numbers of staff have refused to descend into the darkness that is the basement, where Roman soldiers have been sighted marching through the derelict tunnels in what was once the working heart of London's premier hotel.
Okay, well, we're here down in the basement. As you can see, it's absolutely freezing. We've got Richard and Melinda and Phil with me. It is a really cold place, isn't it?
Do you know what it is? It is. It's absolutely freezing. And walking down here, it's just really chilling. I mean, I don't think you can get really an idea of it, obviously, on screen. It's icy cold, isn't it?
Well, it is. I was brought up in rural Aberdeenshire, used to cutting winds, and I can tell you, it is a different kind of cold. But I mean, I can't work out whether it's a damp cold, but it doesn't feel like in Scotland we'd say something like clutchy or clinging, like a cold that kind of hangs on you.
Annoying.
Can you imagine spending the night here?
I can't imagine.
No,
I think they must have been stark raving mad. I mean, literally, the minute I walked down here, and I was quite relaxed and everything, but I instantly got this really oppressive headache, and it's like...
Have you?
Yeah, but it's just like... Well, oppressive is the
well,
word.
that's quite
like,
common.
I want to get out.
That's quite common. For some bizarre reason, when we've been doing investigations, a lot of people on our crew have actually experienced very, very bad headaches. Also, backache as well is quite a common one.
So what would cause that?
Well, I'll probably let Derek explain it. Let's get the lights down first of all. And can we turn the lights off, please? Okay, and in the other room. Now, normally, if I just get my camera out, because sometimes it's quite tricky, but if we can all try and be a little bit quiet, and maybe I'll just have a wander around with the camera, because it's quite an eerie place. Melinda and Richard, if you feel anything at all, tickling on the top of the hair is quite common.
I was going to say, I keep getting down the back of my neck. I'm not lying. I'm getting chills down the back of my neck. Don't leave me. Come you.
Are you that scared?
I am.
Because you look like
really
Scully in a bad light.
I've got an instant headache and I'm getting chills down the back of my neck. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It genuinely.
I must admit, you do get that.
Come and stand over here with me.
Do I have to?
Yeah. Just, I want you to go and stand in. Go and stand in the.
I can't go on there.
Yes, you can. Go and stand in the corner over there. Go on, Richard. Go on in.
This is horrible.
Go
This
right
is
in
a
the
really
corner.
horrible feeling.
Okay. Take the lights away from them.
Calm down.
Take the lights away from them altogether. Okay. Let's turn around and leave them.
Don't leave us.
No, leave you alone. No, seriously. If you just stand there very quietly, and then you never know, you might just see if you can get a tickling on the top of your head, and ask quietly if you can ask any spirits to make themselves known to you. You never know. You might hear something behind you. You might feel something on top of your head. Something might touch you. You might feel an icy blast on your face.
No, I've had that before when I was in a hotel in Manchester. It was very definitely. It was definitely.
What are you
I
feeling
don't
at the
like
moment?
it. I feel really, really uncomfortable.
What's making you feel uncomfortable?
It's not just working with me, is it? No?
Aside from that, there is such a tension. There really is, isn't there? Can you feel it?
It's a cold that is cloying, and it's all over you, without a doubt. Make no mistake about that.
I'm not getting any more of those chills. Thank goodness. But it's not nice. I don't like being down here at all.
It's not. It's certainly not pleasant.
Do you actually feel colder as you're standing still?
Yeah, but is that normal? Is that normal?
I'm not feeling colder. I was colder over there. I got a real rush of cold air, literally on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
I think let's bring Derek in now. Let's see if Derek can actually pick anything else up in here. Derek, Cora, come on into the basement and see if you can pick anything else up. Maybe if there's somebody in here with us that... Hello. Melinda was feeling something, weren't you, earlier on?
I was.
Is there somebody in here with us, a spirit person that you can possibly...
Well, can I tell you, Melinda could be feeling that also because of the amount of residual energy that's coming in layers away from the flooring here. And it comes in 3 layers. The 3 layers... the bottom layer, so to speak, which I will explain, is in no effect to any of our energies. It's the second level that would be causing this to Melinda's vibrations. And what it is that going back here in time, there was disturbance down in these levels. This disturbance was to, oh God, okay, it's like saying consecrated ground. And, you know, how dare you lift this up and what have you, and then to see all around the people who are in, like, the only way I can describe it, a burial site. And, you know, they were lying in the coffins.
This was a burial site here?
Yeah, all around this area, yes. And, you know, I see this layer, and these spirits, you know, it's not that they're actually walking here. It's just like, hey, why did you disturb us? Why did you disturb our resting place? And it's at that level. Now, can I say the first level, which I want to talk about, is most definitely the trudging and the noises, not just like that train to my ears, but psychically and what have you. It's like, you know, trundling down here. We're talking about hundreds of feet, hundreds of heavy feet walking, and I know it to be of the conditions with Romans. Is the bottom layer. Like I said, the middle layer is which has caused activity down here. Now, on top of that, the absolute amazing thing about it is, I'm in this area and I feel the richest man in the world. And why? Because I've got people in the residual energy walking up and down these energy levels here, these floors, guarding something. Guarding. What the heck were they guarding?
How are you feeling, Melinda, knowing all that information, and you've just felt really peculiar earlier on?
I do. Well, I tell you what, it's getting worse actually, because now I feel really, I'm not making this up, but my chest is going really tight, and it's like it's hard to breathe and everything.
Do you think that's possibly because you've heard what Derek has said, and maybe your imagination is working overtime?
It really isn't. It really isn't. Honestly, you know, to begin with, it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you know. But I genuinely am feeling that, and that's not being influenced by you at all. That is a genuine feeling.
Richard, how are you feeling at the moment?
Just you do feel an enormous sense of history. That's too lame a word, but you do feel these layers you talk about. What I sort of feel is a sense, just a huge sense of this whole building being steeped in so many histories, not just the history of the building itself, but the so many personal histories. Yes, without a doubt. You know, and that you can feel. And I'm not sure whether that's a paranormal thing or whether it's just perhaps a romantic sort of idyll I have, or
Richard, that is the emanations coming from that middle layer of people who are placed to rest, okay, and then many, you know, years later, for that to be all dragged up and changed and to expose their resting place. Right. So basically, they would cause not evil, but would cause the sensation of saying, you know, I'm leaving it in the atmosphere forever to be, you know, buzzing around in our ether. Now, the other thing is, which I've been trying to get to the bottom of, is that this place also was angrily protected by someone, like guarding something.
Here. Sorry, you carry on, Derek, because I'm just going into here and I'm just having a little investigation on my own.
I feel as if I've got a number. It's only in the residual energy, but a number of men with nothing to do with the layer of Roman soldiers. Nothing to do at all with the burial of these thousands of people, but to do with guarding something, and they had to guard it, and they guarded it with absolute passion. And it's like as if I'm looking at this here, and this is not locked up, but I feel as if, and I did earlier on, is if bolts come across and gates and bang, 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 and I'm stuck and I'm locked behind things, and yet, just for a short space of time, I felt the richest man in the world here.
How far back does this go?
I have to butt in there very quickly. Richard Felix, 3 things he mentions. The first of those is this desecration of ground. What's he talking about?
There was a burial ground, and you must remember that people in those days, even as today, crave a decent burial, and the worst thing on earth for anyone is to think that their body's going to be dug up and removed.
What are you talking about?
St Pancras Church is just across the road, and there was a massive burial ground round here.
And it was moved?
Belonging to St Pancras. And of course, when the railways came and they built this, they disturbed all the ground and they dug them up.
Well, here we are. We're still in the basement, and of course we've got Richard and Melinda with us from Loose Lips, and also we've got Phil and Derek. Now, Derek, just before we went to the break, you started, well, and during the break actually, you started picking up on something to do with a bank. So just tell us exactly what that was again.
Sorry for getting overexcited.
No, I had to calm you down, as per.
No, but what it was because to get this residual energy to suggest to my conscious mind that I'm locked behind the secure bars and what have you, and to be surrounded by great valuables, if not in money, feeling a very rich man. And then suddenly, for Sam to give me those conditions, he kept on talking about a bank. And I said, what do you mean a bank? And then he talked then about the bank, again, the bank, and then suddenly the Bank of England. the Bank of England. So there's got to be a very, very strong connection with something to do with finances, money, and the Bank of England.
Right, okay.
And I feel on these conditions here, on this level.
Why would, you know, earlier on you mentioned about the burial ground.
Yes.
Do you know why there would be a burial ground here? How long, you mentioned Roman times.
Yes. No, this comes forward after I feel the Roman times. And for some reason, many, many years later, it was deemed by whoever to dig up these sacred grounds to suddenly realise, okay, maybe by mistake I suppose, but to realise that, hey, they've made one big mistake because what have they done? They've dug up thousands and thousands of graves.
So are the bodies still here?
Those conditions, I believe in feeling, so many were moved, but there are so many still here.
Really?
But the physical, yes, underground here. And I feel it's those energies that are lying very, very strongly on this level, in these basements, in this energy field, in this ether, our air.
Do you think that's why there's some activity down here?
Yes,
really?
Without a doubt. And also, the energy, there's extra energy from that third layer, even going on in time, nothing to do with the graves, nothing to do with the graves at all, but to do with the people that used to guard very, very, I suppose at times vehemently, this great stash of monies or something like, you know, something to do with the Bank of England. So we've got 3 layers.
Right.
Of residual energy, not clashing with each other, but separately coming out into the ether for us to, you know, pick up psychically. And
sorry, Doug, where's that draft coming from?
I keep feeling it.
God, right across my face.
Well,
It's not even like a window open, is it?
Because we're still in our physical body, and our energy field, okay, will pick up this energy. Because you're picking up 3 levels of energies, but residual, yes.
Okay,
but 3.
We'll have to leave it there. We'll have to leave it there. Can I just say thank you so much for coming down?
Thank you. I can't wait to leave now.
If I start channeling anything tonight, I'm coming to lie with you, Yvette Fielding.
Oh my word!
Albeit in a crypt.
We're going to see you on our show tomorrow, aren't we?
Yes, look forward to it.
Thank you very much. It's back to David and the experts.
Thank you very much indeed, Yvette. I bet they wish they'd never accepted our challenge to come here to the Midland Grand Hotel. A fantastic building. Tell me, guys, what do you make of this? Come on, Kieran. You're an academic. You're open-minded skeptic. What do you make of tonight so far?
A lot of the information that we're getting from Derek is good because it's verifiable. There's a lot of history here, and like Richard said, there's so much that he could get coming through. However, for me as an academic, the information that's coming through is not evident because it's an issue of how much of this information is available prior to the visit, or how much of this information is available in the public domain, or even just sitting in a cab around St Pancras.
So are you saying that for you there isn't enough evidence because he could have looked it up?
There is that possibility, yes, and that's always a possibility you've got to look at with somewhere that's perhaps as famous as this hotel and in such a central location.
Felix?
The big thing about it is that the ghost stories to do with St Pancras are not recorded. I'm doing a tour of Great Britain. I've done Ghosts of London, and I didn't even know that St Pancras was haunted, so I got no stories about it. It's first-hand evidence from people that were around here. Not taxi drivers, I wouldn't think. And you cannot look at... Derek could not have got this information before he came here. I genuinely mean that.
And just very quickly, this Bank of England, he kept going on about...
There was a storeroom here. I don't know why or where, but down in the basement there was a large storeroom for storing valuables from the Bank of England. I don't know if it was overflow or what it was.
OK, do you think that you will change your mind throughout the course of this evening?
If we get some more specific information and Richard and I have a chat, then yeah, possibly.
OK, Kieran, stay with us. Join us in a few minutes after this break.